Hi, good morning, everyone. The side event at Japan Pavilion will be started shortly. Please have a seat for free. The side event for promoting and expanding implementation of the Joint Crediting Mechanism, JCM. Thank you for your waiting.
Okay, good morning, friends and colleagues. Welcome to the very first side event organized in Japan Pavilion. Welcome to our side event, promoting and expanding implementation of the Joint Crediting Mechanism, or JCM. This event is organized jointly by the Ministry of the Environment Japan and the Overseas Environmental Cooperation Center Japan. My name is Makoto Kato. I am happy to serve as MC for this event. This event has been organized in many years, as a series, as an initiative of the government of Japan. And we have been updating for the progress and also the implementation and the benefits of the joint crediting mechanisms. And also, we are promoting this in the context of Paris Agreement, Article 6.2. We're very happy to have excellent speakers here in the venue and also online. And to start this event, I would like to invite my president, Professor Dr. Kazuhiko Takemoto, President of Overseas Environmental Cooperation Center, Japan. Mr. Takemoto,
thank you.
To start?
Thank you, moderator, Mr. Kato. On behalf of the Overseas Environmental Cooperation Center, OECC, and the Ministry of the Environment Japan, MOEJ, I would like to welcome you to this side event on implementation of the Joint Crediting Mechanism, JCM. With a full-fledged implementation of Paris Agreement, as you are aware, the many party countries have raised their NDC ambitions, bearing in mind of achieving the global goals on the world temperature rise. However, according to the new NDC synthesis report of UNFCCC, which was published just 2 weeks before, the aggregated contributions by NDCs unfortunately remain insufficient to reach the global temperature rise goal by the end of this century. Therefore, all the party countries are urged to further strengthen their efforts as much as possible. In this regard, Japan has stepped up JCM program since the implementation rules of the Paris Agreement's Article 6 were agreed at COP26 of last year. Right after COP26, the Ministry of the Environment Japan, MOEJ, pledged its policy direction to accelerate actions on JCM with the following 3 major components. Namely, first, to expand the JCM partner countries. Secondly, to scale up JCM by mobilizing private finance. And thirdly, to further contribute to making global market mechanism more operational through enhancing capacity building for partners countries. Today, I would like to hear from Ms. Matsumoto of MOEJ for more details on their new initiatives later on. At the same time, we are expecting presentations from the experts of partner countries, namely Cambodia and Mongolia, as well as a world-leading company, JFE Engineering Corporation, on their progress in developing JCM project and their expectations. I am very much looking forward to hearing dynamic discussions on how we can move forward to develop our JCM programs in the future. Finally, Mr. Moderator, I would like to conclude my remarks by wishing you all fruitful discussions with your active participation today. Thank you very much, and once again, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Takemoto, for your very insightful and encouraging words to start and to welcome us all. Thank you very much. So, as he said, well, this is going to be a very interactive session. So you're welcome to raise hands and so raise comments at the discussion session. But before that, we are having good presentations today. And as the first presenter, I would like to invite Ms. Eri Matsumoto of the Ministry of the Environment, Japan. She's going to speak to the updates of the JCM, please. So Matsumoto-san, can I have you on the floor?
Hello. Hello, everyone. I am Matsumoto Eri from the Ministry of the Environment, Japan. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. I hope you're doing well despite this ongoing global pandemic. Today, I'd like to talk about the Joint Creating Mechanism, JCM. Next slide, please. Thank you. Before introducing the JCM, let me briefly explain the current Japanese law of global warming. Japan has a law called the Act on Promotion of Global Warming Countermeasures. This plan lays down the foundation to the future progress of global warming countermeasures in Japan. It was unanimously adopted by Cabinet decision, and its latest version was adopted in October 2021. It defines Japan emission reduction target for fiscal year 2030 and Japan's NDC. Japan aims to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 46% in fiscal year 2030 from its fiscal year 2013 levels. Setting an ambitious target fit is aligned with the long-term goal of achieving net zero by 2050. Furthermore, Japan will continue strenuous efforts in its challenge to meet the lofty goal of cutting its emissions by 50%. Regarding the joint creating mechanism, Japan aims for cumulative greenhouse gas emissions reductions of about 100 million tons of CO2 through public-private partnerships. A portion of the quantified GHG emission reduction will be used to achieve GHG emission reduction will be used to achieve Japan's emission reduction target NDC. Next, I will explain about the JCM in detail. Next slide, please. This is the basic concept of the JCM. Carbon market mechanisms, including the JCM, were defined under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. In addition to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, such market mechanisms will also ensure partner countries' sustainable development. Under the JCM, Japan supports JCM partner countries by providing advanced decarbonized technologies. With governmental support, companies from both Japan and partner countries will jointly implement projects to reduce GHG emissions. Credit resulting from GHG emission reductions and removals will be shared among participating countries by the operating joint committee. The JCM does not only provide decarbonizing technologies to partner countries to facilitate greenhouse gas emission reduction, but it also contributes to achieving Japan and partner countries' NDC emission reduction target in line with Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. Next slide, please. Since Article 6 of the Paris Agreement were adopted at COP26, Japan is implementing the Article 6 rules into domestic laws as below. In January, Japan established the JCM Promotion and Utilization Council consisting of 5 relevant ministries and formulated the procedures for the authorization as a party to the Paris Agreement and the corresponding adjustment regarding JCM. Also, for achieving the target of the JCM, we are accelerating consultation to expand partner countries up to approximately 30 countries worldwide by around 2025. Next slide, please. This slide shows our JCM partner countries. Since August of this year, Japan signed the Memorandum of Cooperation for establishing the JCM with 7 countries, bringing the total to 24 partner countries. Next, please. This is the latest global overview of our JCM financing programs by Ministry of the Environment, Japan. Since 2013, over 220 projects have been selected, resulting total cumulative GHG emission reductions are estimated to reach around 20 million tons of CO2 by 2030. Next, please. For a better understanding of the JCM financing programs, these are some of the concrete examples made under the JCM. There has been provided a variety of decarbonizing technologies in line with partner countries' needs. Japan not only supports this collaboration on the provision of advanced decarbonizing technologies, but also supports the entire process of measurement, reporting, and verification of GHG emission reduction in a quantitative manner, along with forming a joint committee with partner countries. Next, please. This graph illustrates the various types of decarbonizing technologies supported by the JCM. Renewable energy and energy efficiency are gathering the most support. However, along the expansion and development of the JCM, other areas have been emerging, such as waste management, transport, and so on. Next, I'm going to touch upon the financial support for the JCM. First, the support scheme is referred to as JCM model project. To put it simply, this scheme supports renewable energy or energy efficiency projects. This is by far the largest fund for projects under JCM. For this scheme, the Ministry of the Environment bears up to half of the investment cost when advanced decarbonizing technologies are installed by the international consortium. Once the consortium has installed the facility, CO2 emission reductions monitoring and reporting undergo a third-party review. Next, please. This slide shows a diagram of the JCM gas model project. It is similar to the JCM model project, But these financial supports target the recovery and removal of full carbon greenhouse gases such as HFCs, and support the establishment of the business schemes and the transportation of gas in addition to the installation of facilities. The financial support scheme for JCM is not only mandated by the Japanese government, but also led with international organizations. Next, please. This trust fund has been set up at the Asian Development Bank by Japan for the JCM. This fund provides financial incentive for the adaptation of decarbonized technologies, which is barrier in GHG emission reduction, but expensive in AD-based financing projects. Next, please. Also, Japan implements the JCM in collaboration with UNEDO. In 2020, we signed a joint declaration on environmental cooperation with UNEDO in order to support JCM in 2020. We had a Japan-UNEDO webinar in 2021 and started UNEDO JCM project in 2022. Introduction of solar power plus battery in Kenya was elected in this year. Next, please. As mentioned at the beginning, JCM does not only lead to greenhouse gas emission reduction, but also contribute to partner countries' sustainable development. Bilateral documents and the rules of implementation of the JCM agreed between Japan and partner countries stipulate that the JCM should contribute towards a sustainable development. In order to promote JCM's contribution to SDGs, we publish reports analyzing the interlinkages between the JCM and the SDGs and evidencing the way in which the JCM contributes to SDGs. Also, Japan developed the guidance on gender equality for the joint creative mechanism with the aim of encouraging JCM project participants to take action toward the gender equality. Next, please. Finally, I would like to introduce the JCM Global Match. The JCM Global Match is a business matching platform for JCM participants. Now, about 800 people, mainly from JCM partner countries, are currently registered. It is possible for participants to communicate directly on the platform through a dedicated chat room. Participants can advertise their business by setting up a profile and sharing their area of expertise. Previous settings such as exchanging opportunities and contact details remain available. We look forward to your registration to our platform, and you might find your future business partner. Next, please. This is all my presentation. Thank you very much for your kind attention and time.
Thank you very much, Matsumoto-san, for your comprehensive presentation. And also, she highlighted the very recent updates of the JCM, including the expansion of countries. Recently, we have many countries joined in this year. So it's amazing that the countries are getting close to 30 as we targeted. And also what is very interesting is that to support and to boost the investment of the decarbonized technologies, we have worked on many different partners. And this year, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, has joined in the JCM as a supporter. So I think that this is a good opportunity for us to expand and also deepen the implementation of the Article 6 activities. Now, I think it's also interesting to see what are important factors and activities for promoting and expanding the JCM. And to this end, I would like to invite Mr. Wataru Toze, who is a researcher of the Overseas Environmental Cooperation Center, Japan. So Toze-san, please, you have the floor.
Thank you for introducing Kato-san. Also, thank you for attending this side event, everyone. And
so microphone is actually turning up. So.
Thank you for introducing Kato-san, and thank you for attending this side event, everyone. And I also appreciate that I can attend this side event with remarkable speakers. Now I'm starting my presentation. Which titled "The Important Factors and Activities for Promoting and Expanding the JCM." The purpose of this presentation is to be framework for the following presentation, which will be conducted by speakers from of this side event. Next slide, please. Now I'm showing the overview of the JCM scheme in this slide. And I underline some sentences which link to the important factors and the activities of the JCM that I'm introducing. If I introduce the highlighted parts, I can mention 4 points. First one, JCM is articulated under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. And the second point, diffusion of decarbonization technologies. And third point, contribution to the achievement of Japan's NDC. And fourth, participation of private companies and sectors, which can be public and private corporations. Next slide, please. From this slide, I am introducing important factors and activities to promote and expand the JCM. And I am introducing important factors to promote the JCM in this slide. Yes. First point, achievement of ambitious climate targets. The NDC targets set by parties of Paris Agreement fall short of 1.5 degree and 2 degree targets. And each country is required to set more ambitious targets. So the use of market mechanism of Article 6.2, including JCM, is going to provide opportunity for countries to set more ambitious targets. And as Article 6 of the Paris Agreement is a clause that makes opportunities for participation of private companies. So, and such public-private cooperation makes possible to pursue the ambitious targets. And second point, development of the rules and guidelines. The rule book for Article 6 of Paris Agreement was agreed upon at COP26 last year. So as the JCM is articulated by Article 6.2 of Paris Agreement, the JCM is now being proceeded with development of rules and guidelines, including dealing with corresponding adjustment with each partner country. So we can expect that carbon markets created by Article 6 activity is going to be activated through the development of rules and guidelines. So please, next slide. Yes. In this slide, I would like to introduce important activities by partner countries and private sectors. Introducing of decarbonization and low carbon technologies contributes to the sustainable development of the partner countries with bringing synergies. Partner countries have not only improved environmental issues, environment issues by introducing such technologies, but also improve social issues such as promotion of employment and accumulation of know-how of technologies for decent work. And last point, as already Ms. Matsumoto from Ministry of the Environment mentioned, but expansion of JCM partner countries can be regarded as important activities for to promote and expand the JCM. It can be expected that feasibility of the achievement of ambitious climate targets in various countries and regions, and also potential for participation of private sector that could be expanded, and that also could meet various needs of partner countries and the region in which. This is last slide. So these factors and activities are going to play important roles in promoting and expanding of the JCM, and it's going to contribute to achieving of goals of Paris Agreement and realizing decarbonization technologies. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Toda-san, for introducing the success factors of the JCM promotion and expansion. That's great. All right. The next one, we have a country representative, namely Cambodia and Mongolia. And maybe I would like to start with Cambodia. My friend, Mr. Hakmao from Ministry of Environment Cambodia is with us here. So I would like to invite Mr. Hakmao to speak about the experiences of the joint crediting mechanisms in Cambodia. So Hakmao-san, please. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kato-san. I'm sorry that I won't make a slide presentation. I will speak what we have experienced in the area of JCM. But before we going to that, I just want to inform you that I think Cambodia, like the other country in the world, we are the more impact to the climate change, and we experience the critical impact, especially this year. You can see in Europe, in Asia, and even in Cambodia, you know, we flooded almost everywhere in the countries. We spent a lot of money increasingly from year to year. This year we spent around 2.3% of our total GDP, so it's huge amount of money that we spend on climate change impact. Even our country is the more vulnerable, and we prioritize climate change adaptations. However, we try to balance both mitigation and adaptations. And in order to respond to this, we developed our 10-year strategic plan we call Cambodia Climate Change Strategic Plan, with our main goal to promote our country to be a low carbon, climate resilient, and knowledge-based societies. And among this, of course, adaptation is most priorities. However, low carbon development and climate change mitigation also include in these strategies. Besides that, in 2020, we developed our updated nationally determined contributions. And under our updated nationally determined contribution, we expect to reduce around 41.7% of emission reduction by 2030. So I think it is a huge emission reduction, and it is a strong commitment from the government in order to promote and in order to achieve the emission reduction target as stipulated in Paris Climate Agreement. Beyond that, you know, I think a few studies analyze that NDC cannot meet the goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius. So we need to move beyond that. And in response to this, the government of Cambodia developed the long-term strategy for carbon neutrality with 2050 as carbon neutral targets. And under our long-term strategy for carbon neutrality, we identify and we access different sectors. Of course, our key priority is economic developments and social status. So we look at different aspects, and then we see that when we develop our long-term strategy for carbon neutrality, not only to contribute to emission reduction, but also to promote economic growth, job creation, and also encourage the investments.
Montre que l'Afrique a seule a besoin de
On this,
86
we
milliards de
expect that we
dollars
promote around
par an
$500
d'ici
billion green job
2030
by 2030, by
pour financer
2050.
ces besoins,
And of course,
ces
we
besoins
expect to
d'adaptation.
contribute
C'est
around
dire que l'objectif des 100
2.8% of
milliards
our total
de
GDP by
dollars par
2050.
an
So I think
promis
it
pour
is
soutenir
our
l'action
important
climatique des pays en
assessment in
développement
order to
est
bring
un
our country to be
engagement à
a
minimum.
low carbon society.
Et je dois réitérer ici
Among our mitigation
le
actions, of
remerciement aux
course,
pays
we are one of the least
européens
developed
et la
countries that
Fondation Gates pour leur
approved
soutien
around 12 CDM
sur
projects,
le
Green
programme
Development
d'accélération pour
Mechanism
l'adaptation en
project.
Afrique.
And all
Nous
of these
invitons les
12
autres pays et
CDM
institutions
projects, we expect
partenaires
to reduce around
à
2
appuyer
million
nos
pounds of
efforts
carbon.
dans ce sens.
So I think it is also huge. And
Je
our
rappelle
country, of course, we
que pour
consider
l'essentiel,
CDM as
en matière
our mitigation
d'adaptation,
actions.
ce sont
Besides that,
les pays en
after we signed
développement
our low
qui
carbon partnership
financent
with
pour
the
l'essentiel
government of
le
Japan in
projet
2014,
vers notamment
right now we approve
les
around 6
infrastructures
JCM
en
projects,
recourant à
and
la
mostly
dette,
on renewable
alors que les efforts d'adaptation
energies and energy saving
devraient
projects.
plutôt être pris en
However, I
charge
would say that
par
Cambodia
les
being one
engagements
of the countries that
financiers
implement
convenus.
JCM project in the
Financer
area
par
of
nos
red
propres
class.
moyens nos efforts
And with this one,
d'adaptation
it's very
à une
important for our
situation
country
dont
to
nos
keep
pays sont plutôt victimes
forest stand, but
est
generate
assurément
money
une
through selling
double
carbon
peine
market. And I think it is a good
que nous ne sommes pas
time for us
disposés
to
à
cooperate
subir.
with Japan to sell our
Face
credit.
donc à l'urgence climatique,
However, we see that
les priorités de
the
l'Afrique portent
JCM project also
également
we count
sur le
under
développement d'une
our
agriculture
mitigation action.
résiliente,
And I think this is the implication that the topic
une
of today's
agriculture
discussion will be.
résiliente
And I just
adaptée
hear the
aux
previous
écosystèmes
speaker,
des
they
pays.
mentioned about Article 6. So I
Ainsi,
will
à
elaborate later
l'expérience
when the question comes on
études
Article 6.
mise en
Besides that,
valeur
Cambodia also
par des ressources
developed
financières et
6
technologiques adaptées,
verified emission reduction projects,
l'Afrique
and we expect to reduce around
peut
6
se
million
nourrir
carbon
par
emissions.
elle-même et
And I
aider
think
à
it's
nourrir
also
le
very
monde
important for our country
qui
as
sera de
well.
plus en
And
plus
among these projects,
exposé aux
mostly
risques
on
de
biodigestor,
pénurie
coastal,
alimentaire.
and also
C'est dans cet esprit
forestry
que le Sénégal,
project.
en
Besides
collaboration
that, we
avec
have
le
two
groupe de la
NAMA
Banque
projects,
africaine de
National
développement,
Appropriate Mitigation Action.
accueillera la
And this
deuxième
project, of course,
conférence
is just a kind of
Fit
assessment
Africa
with very
de Dakar du
limited emission
25
reduction
au
potential,
27
since we have
janvier
very
prochain.
limited investment
Et je
from
voudrais
our
vous y convier et vous
partner
remercier
in this
tous de
area.
votre attention.
So I think it is how the Cambodia moving in the support of mitigation
Thank you,
action,
Your Excellency,
especially
for your
to promote the
statement.
achievement of 1.5 degrees Celsius. And we also the strong supporter for the JCM.
It's my
And I
pleasure
think
to
I will
welcome His
elaborate more
Excellency
detail
Mr. Alan
when we come to
Maurice,
discussion.
President
So I would
of
like to
Estonia.
end
Your
my short
Excellency, you
intervention
have the
here,
floor.
and thank you very much for your kind attention.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the tipping points and boundary boundaries are nearer than we previously thought. Means we one thing. We cannot delay or dilute the
Thank you very much,
Glasgow and
Hakamo-san.
Paris agreements.
That is fantastic.
The
I think
Glasgow
well, with this
Climate Pact is
strong
truly ambitious, so it's
leadership
critical
or
to
initiative
decade.
for
We
Japan and
need
Cambodia
to commit
have
further
worked together
and
for a long
close the
time.
book
And I think
on phasing
here
down
in this room also there are some Cambodian
27
colleagues,
under the Egyptian
friends,
leadership
and who are
hopes to
working
take a step forward
physically with us
on adoption
for the
and
creation of
implementation.
JCM. So we really
The Glasgow
appreciate and
Pact
congratulate
provides a good
your
framework for this
leadership,
too.
and also
After
this is
all,
something that we
to
are going
save
to
human lives,
work
both
more
adaptation
to
and
achieve the carbon
mitigation
neutrality
are
and also
required.
the other
The
multiple
present
benefits
fossil
that you
fuel
mentioned.
energy crisis only speeds up a decisive
I
push
wonder
towards climate
if
neutrality through renewable
Oki-san
energy.
from Ulaanbaatar
Russian
is
war
with
in
us
Ukraine
online.
has
So can I
inflicted horrible human
ask
suffering
Oki-san,
in
are you
Europe
there?
and endangered energy and food security globally.
Okay.
In spite of short-term adjustments, the EU
Yes.
remains committed
I'm here.
ambitious
Yes. So Oki-san, can
2030
you start
goals.
your speech?
The era of
Yeah,
fossil fuels will lead the way to a new era of sustainability.
Can you show my slides, please?
Yes, it's on that.
Okay. So good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And my name is Auge, Secretary of the Joint Credit Mechanism between Mongolia and Japan. Thank you for inviting me to present the current status of JCM implementation in Mongolia. So next slide, please. Okay. So the main purpose of my presentation is to provide information about the JCM implementation in Mongolia. The Mongolia has set the goal of reducing greenhouse gas emission by 22.7% by 2030. There are several policies and programs that are approved and developed by the government of Mongolia. For the JCM, specific policy or target has not been set for the reducing greenhouse gas emission under the JCM Mongolia, but the JCM project's emission reductions will be included in the energy sector emission reductions. Next slide, please. JCM Mongolia and Japan developed a new document named Guidelines for the Implementation of the JCM in Mongolia under the requirement of the Paris Agreement and CORSIA. This document aims to facilitating efficient implementation, management of the issue of JCM credits, also the procedures and forms related to Paris Agreement and its relevant decision, and etc. And especially guidelines chapter 2 authorization and the corresponding adjustment in accordance with the Paris Agreement, and article 4 and 5 is all about the corresponding adjustment, and the new document is adopted in February 2022, and for the domestic arrangements, we still need to develop domestic arrangements to authorize the use of JCM credits for ETMOS and NDC targets. So actions needs to be considered is ensure environmental integrity with the conservative reference emissions, and also the support for sustainable development. But JCM Mongolia has already developed sustainable development contribution plan and report documents that regulates the JCM project's environmental integrity and contribution for SDGs, and also the JCM adopted the gender equality guideline document. Next, please. So as required by Article 6.2, the JCM Mongolia and Japan has periodically made their arrangements since the adoption of the Paris Agreement in 2015, and also the necessary arrangements for all the documents, regulations, guidelines were updated and approved by the 8th joint committee meeting of the JCM between Mongolia and Japan, which was held in February 8, 2022. And as a result of this meeting, most of the categories specified in the newly approved Paris Agreement rule book have been met. About the CORSIA application, the first application submitted to CORSIA in 2020, we have received the recommendations from ICAO, in which the JCM was invited to reapply. So in Japanese side, analyzed the recommendations found that both sides need to respond to perhaps areas for further development. It's necessary to, we need to review the JCM rules and guidelines again, and also to develop new web-based registry system for Mongolia. And the most important part was to establish the guidelines for the implementation of the JCM in Mongolia. So second application submitted in February 2022, JCM Mongolia and Japan is developed and updated all required documents listed in recommendations. So after currently we are waiting for a positive response from the CORSIA. Next, please. The updates of regulations and guidelines are necessary arrangements under the requirement of CORSIA and also the Paris Agreement decision. We have updated all the required documents and also the issues, the CORSIA's issues, addressed the issues. Those addressed issues are also solved. And if you see the table, those highlighted the part is all solved. The next, please. So the currently next. 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 Yeah, that's the one. So currently, total installed capacity of Mongolia's renewable energy is 295.7 megawatt, and 42.7 megawatt of solar power plant projects have been developed as part of the JCM. In this year, in 2020, 3 new solar power plants started its operation. As of today, JCM implementing 4 renewable energy projects and 4 energy efficiency projects. And also the 1 project is expected to implement it. Next, please. So as of these slides, from these slides, will show the projects in more details, but due to the time limitation, I will not go through the details. Hopefully, OECC will share my presentation file later. Next, please. So this is the Mongolia's first solar farm project. Currently, 44,000 ton CO2 equal credit issued in the 2022. Next. The project is implementing in Darkhan city, 8,947 ton CO2 equal credit issued as of 2017. Next. This project is completed in 2019. Next. So this is the 50 megawatt solar power plant project implementing in 2 provinces near close to the new airport, and the project is expected to register in 2023. Next, please. This is the fuel conversion project implemented by the MCS Coca-Cola and the Saisan companies. Started operation in 2020. So, and also they're expected to register next year. Next, please. So this is the last project. The project is the first renewable energy project with the battery system in Mongolia. Implementing under the JCM. The construction work completed last month. I heard that the official opening is mid of November. Thank you. Next, please. So this table shows that the total credit issuance for the 40 projects of 10 countries. So as you can see, the Mongolia, we have the Mongolia, the 53,730 credits were issued in 5 out of 8 projects in implementing Mongolia. Next, please. So on this slide, you can see the year-end production results of the ongoing projects. Next, please. So I think this is important in the last part of my presentation. Since the 2013, the JCM established in Mongolia, we have achieved a lot of things, and the JCM has brought us many benefits. And for example, on these slides, and also additional to things are mentioned is JCM projects have enabled the high-cost new technologies in Mongolia, which was given the opportunities for independent public and private investment. And also the JCM business model has successfully contributed to Mongolia's efforts to reduce the GHG emissions, and in particular by supporting the development of renewable energy and increasing the energy efficiency and savings. And also since the launch of the JCM, total of more than 150 million has been invested in nationwide through the projects, and which is about 40 million has been in the form of grants from the government of Japan. And also the JCM contributes to the expansion of public-private sector cooperations in Mongolia. And through the projects and also the introduced technologies are improving the working environment of the company's employees and have positive impact on employees' health. This means JCM projects are contributes to the sustainable development of Mongolia. And also the JCM's flexible financing schemes allows stakeholders and the project developers to create their own financing models, so etc. So the JCM has brought us many benefits. And next, please. And my conclusion, currently there is no national policy for integrating GHG emissions reduction into the carbon market system. We need to take immediate action to take the regulations to authorize the use of JCM credits for ETMOs and NDC targets. Also, we definitely need to develop and establish unified registry system for tracking the GHG emission reductions at the national level. And we should take this is the most important part, that we should take the JCM as an advantage. JCM is a very good example for the other climate change projects if we use and adopt the good practices of the JCM. So I think that's all my presentation slides. And happy 10th anniversary to all JCM members. And thank you again. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yes, well, it's been already, 10th anniversary. So I really would like to congratulate to you all. And also, when it comes to Mongolia, well, I always call them like a fast runner, very, very fast. Well, you know, Genghis Khan, it's a historical legend, who runs with horse, and then they're very, very fast. Well, they went so far. For example, she said like a 16% of the renewable energy supply actually comes from the JCM projects of the country.
Yes.
Well, this is fantastic. So we are going to even further together with your fast runner from Mongolia. But thank you very much, Ogi-san, for your very nice presentation. And I think Dr. Bhattacharya is online actually, so that I am going to invite him later as a panelist for the discussion today. But anyway, thank you very much, Ogi-san, for your fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the next presenter is from the private sector. I am inviting Mr. Gen Takahashi. He is the general manager of JFE Engineering. So Takahashi-san, can I have you on the floor?
Okay. Thank you very much. The very beautiful introduction, Kato-san. So can you hear me clearly? Okay. So good morning or some good afternoon, and also what can I say in Egyptian language? But anyway, good morning and good afternoon, distinguished participants. My name is Takahashi from JFE Engineering Corporation. So it's a very great honor to make this presentation on the JFE's knowledge and the experiences. Please show my first page. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But anyway, so it's a very great honor to make this presentation on the JFE's knowledge and experiences on the GHG emission reduction in waste sector. I understand waste sector. It's a little bit some very unique topic for this very important event, COP27. But we all understand this is a very important issue in all countries in the global market. Next, please. JFE Engineering is engineering business arm of a JFE group, one of a big corporate group in Japan. So JFE Engineering, we are doing some various infrastructure projects in global market, such as environment, the energy, the bridge construction, and also the recycling business in this global market. Next, please. Here in Egypt, we are proudly remembering to be a part of a construction of the very important Suez Canal Bridge. The another name is Egypt-Japan Friendship Bridge. So we are very much proud of it. So I'm very happy to come back here to make some of this presentation in this very great event. Next, please. Okay, GHG emission reduction. JFE Engineering has been contributing to the reduction of over 10 million tons of CO2 emissions in the fiscal year 2021 throughout our business, our project, such as I said, renewable energy, power generation, or some waste recycling business. And also, we aim to further contribution of the 25 million CO2 emission reduction in the fiscal year 2030. Next, please. Okay, then let me start my special topic to talk about some waste sector. May I ask the questions? Is it a good situation? Is it a good situation? Very simple answer. No, this is not a very, very bad. It's a very, very bad situation. But unfortunately, in some countries, these kinds of inappropriate open dumping, the waste dumping site is a very, very common situation, unfortunately. So as you can see, this open dumping site cause fire, toxins, bad odors, and many pests and flies as well. And also, in the context of some GHG emission, the huge volume of emission of methane gas at this open dumping site is considered one of some very big factors of global warming, as you know. And also, urbanization is making difficult to find a new land for the waste processing site. And also, this is a very difficult and also the very worrying the situation for residents and community in your country. Next, please. Please kindly compare this picture with previous one. Which is better? The answer is clear. It's a very, very common situation in large cities in Japan. Right next to the residential area, the waste to energy initiation plant has been built and it is in very safe and smooth operation. This is waste treatment plant built by JFE Engineering in Tokyo. How it is possible to build such kind of a plant? Because JFE's, our company's advanced technology can minimize the emissions of dioxins and other harmful harmful substances, and also electricity or hot water will be supplied to the community from this very safe and very, let's say, beautiful plant. Since the plant is close to the source of emissions, for example, household, industrial areas, it not only reduces transportation cost, but also reduce dust, odor, and noise during transportation of the waste. Next, please. This is JFE Engineering's very last case of a WT plant. This waste-to-energy project in Bac Ninh province in Vietnam, very near from capital city of Vietnam, Hanoi. The project will process 500 tons of municipal solid waste and industrial solid waste per day. And also, it reduces CO2 emissions by more than 40,000 tons per year with its 10 megawatt power generation capacity. Next, please. The project is materialized through the collaboration, very beautiful collaboration of various organizations concerned with climate change and waste management. The project is financially supported by the Japanese government under its financing program of the JCM. Of course, this is a main topic of this seminar, of course. And also the IFC, the World Organization, of course, as you know. And IFC is providing its financial package, including some very unique concessional loan from the Finland IFC Blended Finance for Climate. It's a very unique program, we understand. And also, T&J Green Energy Company, this is some joint venture between Vietnamese local, the experienced environmental management company, Tuan Thang Environment Company, And also, of course, we will be a part of some joint venture company, this project. And this T&J Green Energy Company joint venture will build and operate its modern waste to energy plant for the people in Vietnam. Next, please. And also, I'd like to explain how waste to energy initiation plant contributes GHG emission reduction. This is the very first waste energy plant in Myanmar. It receives 60 tons per day. It's a very small scale size, actually. But of course, it achieves approximately the 4,000 tons CO2 per year. So this plant is very safe, the smooth operation from a starting time in the 2017. Next, please. This illustration is simply showing the kind of a story, how to contribute GHG emission reduction by waste energy plant. Installation of waste to energy plant avoids emissions of methane gas, as I said before. Methane gas associated with disposed organic waste in dumping site. And electricity generated by the some waste energy plant displaces electricity from a grid which is generated using fossil fuels, resulting in the GHG emission reductions. Next, please. The project was registered as the first JCM waste to energy project in 2020. And it will achieve continuous GHG emission reductions throughout its 15 years operation period, designated operation period. Next, please. And also, we are carefully monitoring 4 parameters: quantity of municipal solid waste fed into this plant, quantity of electricity generated by the plant, and also a quantity of electricity consumed in this plant, etc. These 4 parameters are very important, not only for the some JCM scheme, but also as an experienced engineering company for this waste treatment project. That's also very important for the proper operation and maintenance of the facility. So, as an experienced company, we, JFE Engineering, is dispatching our expert or our supervisor to this site for the some very smooth operation and maintenance. Next, please. This is a very last slide of my presentation, just for the Earth. Please kindly read only big characters, just for the Earth. You can find my company name, JFE. So our JFE's mission is to create a safe and secure society to strongly support the people's lives and to pass this on to the future generation. So this is the very end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Takahashi-san. Thank you for the just for the earth. I think that's very important, and I think what you presented highlighted the multiple benefits of the JCM. Of course, for greenhouse gas emissions reduction is very important, but energy supply and also the reduction of waste, well, that is actually very serious headaches of many different countries. So I think one of the remedies can be, well, the similar project activities for in different countries. So thank you very much for your presentation. Now, we have nice series of presentation today, and we would like to jump onto the panel discussion. However, I think we have many participants for in this meeting room. So if there are any burning questions or comments, I would like to invite for some of you to raise question to the panelists. And now I have my friends in front of me. Okay, can I have your, can you introduce yourself first?
Hello, good morning, Eric from the Live Coalition. So thanks very much. It was very interesting to see how can governments, private sector, and civil society can work together. So I have a couple of questions, and I'm going to try to keep them short. How are you pricing the emissions reductions or removals with the corresponding adjustments? What does Japan expects to pay, or what does Cambodia or Mongolia intend to sell those emission reductions while meeting their own NDCs? And the second question, I think this is really related to Japan, is like, what is the likelihood to secure 100 million emission reductions by 2030 with corresponding adjustments, given the current space and the potential competition from many other countries' models, but at the same time, the own country to meet their own NDCs, which will eventually ratchet down, we expect. And then do you plan to expand the JCM to other potential methodologies which will provide sufficient and reliable supply if it comes with IDMOs? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for first of all, thank you very much for preparing a very professional questions. I would like to take some more questions, and then I think my colleagues from the Japanese government is in this room, so that maybe Uga-san later can I can I ask you to help us respond to these very interesting questions. Okay. Any other questions, comments to the panelists, or anything anything related to the JCM or decarbonized technologies that are presented? Not anymore? Okay, maybe Uga-san, can you respond for some of the questions? I think you made 3 questions, so that maybe it takes a little bit more time, but maybe you can pick up one or 2 for the time being. And then can you stay after this meeting? Well, we can communicate with each other.
Okay, it was a little hard to catch your questions. Sorry about that. Yeah, but you can help me when I answer. But thank you for all coming to this event. Yokoso or Ahalan Wasaharan to the Japanese pavilion. And I picked one question about your 3 from your 3 questions. Well, 100 million question, I guess. Yeah, it's a big number, but to be precise, the number is not the amount of credit the Japanese government is trying to obtain from the project, but it's a number that of all the emission reduction from the project. So based on that, we'll share the credits with all the stakeholders of each project. So yeah, from that 100 million, some part of the credit will go to the Japanese government or maybe the Japanese companies to use for their achievement. And yes, it's a big number, and we know that. And it was a bit slow until 2020 with some uncertainty about the Article 6 negotiation. But at the COP26, we'll finally reach the guidance. And hopefully that we speed up our project development. And I think Cambodia's colleague, thank you for joining this event face to face. And he mentioned about Red Cross, and I think those forestry sector has a big potential, and hopefully other partner countries join this sector. And also, we are trying to develop the guideline for the afforestation and the reforestation sector, so that more companies can join this other sectors, and also CCS. And yeah, so we are trying to scale up with in many ways, but that just one of them is a kind of forestry sector. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Uga-san. Uga-san, can you introduce yourself first? Finally.
Sorry about that.
You forgot to mention your name.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael from the Ministry of the Environment, Japan, and I'm Section Chief of the office in charge of the JCM. And I'm also in charge of the multilateral international carbon markets. And if you like to talk to me, just talk to me later after this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, she is one of the key persons, so that it's good to know her background. Thank you very much for the question. So maybe we can continue. Okay. Having said that, well, I think it's a very good start of discussion. But I would like to pose 3 different questions here as guiding questions. So I would like to read out. What are key and urgent challenges to operationalize the JCM to be consistent with Paris Article 6 rule? So this is question number 1. And number 2, what are decarbonization technologies solutions are expected to be introduced by the JCM present and in the future, such as renewable energy, energy efficiencies, carbon removal, etc., etc. And question number 3 is, how can the JCM attract more investment by utilizing not only the JCM finance program of, I think this is a government scheme, but other finance schemes, such as private finance and also carbon markets. So these are questions posed. I think some of the questions are related to the 3 questions that are made from my friend. So I would like to start maybe asking for Mr. Badjargal. Are you there? He's actually in the COP venue, but he's just out of the plenary. So that I would like to ask Mr. Badjargal from Mongolia to respond any of the questions that you want to take up. Hello. Okay, maybe okay, so he's not available this time. So maybe Mr. Hakmao, maybe any questions you want to take up?
Okay, thank you very much. I think the question that you posed, especially question number 1, is similar to what you raised, and I think what I try to say maybe also respond to your question. Of course, when we come to JCM, we thought it is a voluntary carbon market. And as I introduced previously, Cambodia used CDM and JCM as our mitigation action. But when we read through the Article 6, I would say that Article 6 is easy to read, but not easy to translate and not easy to implement. We have a lot of questions to our side, to ourselves. And of course, we have tried to understand what Article 6 means exactly, especially 6.2. And when we come to this market, we have a concern, frankly speaking. We have our commitment under our NDC, of course, we have the target of emission reduction. And even it say that in our NDC commitment, of course, it's all conditional. It means that in order to achieve our target, of course, we need the support from our partners, our investors. But when we sell more and more credit, so what happened in our commitment? So I think the question that we need to take seriously into account. I try to I try to gradually understand the Article 6, especially the conceptual framework. And sometimes we are happy when we see that, okay, we generate a lot of credits and we can sell a lot of carbon, but when the uncertain market price, it maybe to some extent it will be impact, of course, to us. However, we cannot wait, what happened in the sky, so we need to pick what happened in front of us. So I think it's the thing that we also need to consider as well. Right now, I think the important thing is that the country need to develop the regulations. We have to have our clear regulation, especially for emission reduction mechanism management. So how can we manage to our countries? Of course, we want to sell the credit. We want to get money to manage our natural resource, to sell our credit, to promote energy efficiencies, to introduce energy saving, and so on and so forth. But how we manage it and how to measure in order to avoid the overselling of our credit. So I think the regulation is very important for our case. And beside that, we need also to consider, we have Article 6, but Article 6, it means it different for different countries. For example, in Cambodia, even we have 6 JCM projects, I said, but when we look at the energy project, of course, it's very small emission reduction. And mostly for forestry sectors that we, of course, I would say that Cambodia one of the country that sell RED Plus project under JCM, implement a RED Plus project under JCM. So it is very complicated, you know, many things that we need to take into account. So all this, on this, I think we need to consider the development of our Article 6 operation manual, you know, and the green climate funds. Of course, each country have to develop our operation manual in order to follow different criteria. And I think it's similarly for Article 6, we also have to have very clear operation manual. So what the process we need to consider, what different kind of criteria, and then what the country should sell and not sell, you know, in order to comply with our indices. And also, you know, we also have commitment for long-term strategy for carbon neutralities. So on this, I think beside the selling credit, the country look at the financial mobilization and also technology transfer. I think it is very important that we want to get what kind of the best available technology that can support our countries in order to achieve our emission reduction target. So I think this thing is very important for us. And also we need to assess carefully when we decide which sector we want to sell our credits. And then we need to conduct a very strong assessment, especially we have to have a good data in the countries and also good methodologies. Of course, methodology, it depends on our translation, but if we have very good and clear, precise methodology, I think it's very helpful for our country as well. So yes, I would like to share on this. I mean, I mix up all the question exactly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hakumao. Very strong word. And I think it is, I think in many countries, many partner countries are interested, and then now considering how we can strategically utilize for the JCM or in the country's national development context, including the long-term strategies. So I think Cambodia's cases can be sort of like a very good example for other countries following. So we are very happy to continue to work with your government and also with your private sector and also the people on the ground. Thank you very much. Okay, now I would like to ask Matsumoto-san from Tokyo. Are you there? Matsumoto-san, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I posed 3 different questions. Which question do you want to take up to respond?
2.
Okay, number 2. Okay, please.
As a breakdown of technology fields of JCM financial support programs selected so far, renewable energy and energy efficiency account for approximately 90% of the total. And the initiative developed by the Ministry of the Environment in Japan, the Ministry of the Environment Japan in June last year identifies green logistics and waste management infrastructure as well as renewable energy as the environmental infrastructure to be promoted for overseas deployment through JCM. So we expand JCM by broadening the technological field to realize the JCM's target. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think at Tokyo, there are substantial amount of efforts, energy put to the actually the expansion of the JCM. Recently, we have countries like Georgia and Azerbaijan, Tunisia. Those countries are joined in the JCM partner countries, and now we're also working with early movers such as Cambodia, Mongolia, Vietnam. So that I think we need to work even more, but I think you have the guts to push this very exciting moment. Okay, so thank you very much, Matsumoto-san from Tokyo. Now I would like to throw my question to Takahashi-san here. So we have, you can take any questions or you can respond to all, but whatever you want to.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe question number 3, I think. I can find some in the question number 3, the word of financing, JCM financing. Actually, from a point of view of private sector, the JCM financing scheme is a very, very good accelerator or some catalyzer to mobilize some very good financing scheme for the project. If I'm considering about some waste sector, my topics, sometimes unfortunately it's very difficult to find the appropriate funding scheme for these kinds of waste treatment projects. Sometimes we JP are facing, for example, we cannot find some any ODA programs, for example. So I need appropriate loan programs as well. But if we are using some word or some JCM, or if we are using some kind of a story about some GHG emission reduction in the waste sector, honestly speaking, it's a very easier to invite another kind of financing scheme. So as I explained, we explained about the Vietnamese case. We are lucky to invite the IFC to provide their loan programs, and also we can invite the Finland branded financing program for the project. So it's a very good scheme for the private sectors. And also, as I said, as I mentioned about some IFC, it's also the collaboration with some multi-type of some funding association is also the very important point. So to show the name of JCM, of course, in such kind of some event, to promote the name of some JCM or some benefit of some JCM scheme. So I think it will be some very, very good option for the private sectors as well. That is my answer for the question number 3, I think.
Thank you very much, Takashi-san. I think now the global trend is in this our field is sort of like blended finance to low carbon and decarbonized technologies. Of course, public finance is very important, but I think to scale up the effectiveness or the impact of the reduction or the multiple benefits actually, such as the waste reductions or other sustainable development impacts. I think we really need to combine different sources of finance. And of course, JCM is, I think, a very new type. Of course, we have been already doing 10 years, but it's actually from now on, under the Paris Agreement, we are now ready, almost ready, to expand this activities with the maybe the carbon transaction. And on the top of it, I think international agencies such as IFCs, and also this time the UNIDO joint, and then our very old friend the Asian Development Bank. They have been working very hard in tapping the development opportunity with an additional push on global greenhouse gas emissions and the local sustainable development. So I think that is the way we should go forward. And I think we need your wisdom. We need your efforts. We need a collaboration partnership. So that is the thing where we are now trying to expand and scale up. With the I think JCM is actually something that provides an opportunity to work together, and I think that is something we would like to share with you today. Well, we have 5 minutes left, and if there are any other questions or comments, well, you're welcome to speak out at this time. Anyone from the floor? Anyone? You have fourth question? Okay, great. So I think that concludes for our beautiful discussion today. And then I really want to thank for the speakers online, and also speakers for presenters here today. And I think well, people are smiling here in this room, and I think this is a very good start of our Japan Side Event. This is our first side event in this room. And I think for the JCM, it's been 10 years, but we are going to do maybe for another 10 years. But I think I would like to say we're not still the end, but we're still in the middle of somewhere, or still in the beginning phase. So we are sure we're going to come back with you with a little more updates for in the next year. So with this, I really would like to thank you all for joining this event, and thank you very much for the speakers. So this concludes this today's event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.